Aşık hiç meşukatsiz, bülbül kemensiz olmasın. Ben sen eşkinle Ben sen eşkinle pervaz eylem yükseklere. Ey Nigar sevdalı gönlüm bir de sensiz olmasın.
Nigar was born into the family of Mirza Huseyn Afandi Gayibov, a prominent religious figure and a very educated man, dedicating his life to science and enlightenment. Mirza Hussein will defend the right of women to education for life. There is no such prohibition in the Shari'a, he said, giving his two daughters the best education possible at the time. His daughters do not fail him. They are educated, speak several foreign languages fluently, and are among the most advanced women in the history of Azerbaijan, who have made significant contributions to the country's development. But today, we will talk about Nigar. With her childhood years behind, Nigar is a young woman now. The youthful friendship that turned into love was formed between Nigar Khanum and Alakbarli when they were children. After graduating from the military gymnasium, Shikhlinskaya entered the Mikhailovsky school in St. Petersburg. Although the lovers were not officially engaged, they corresponded regularly. But Nigar does not dare to challenge her parents' decision. Later, when the Mufti knew that Nigar and Alaga had loved each other for a long time, why did he marry his daughter to someone she did not love, and what was wrong with this young man? Huseyn Afandi, who was very close to Alaga's family and helped him continue his education, replied, Alaga is smart and talented, but he's a military personnel who will live in one city today and in another tomorrow. He can find his happiness everywhere. I love Nigar as the light of my eyes. She's the helper with my work. I cannot let her out of my eyesight. I don't want my daughter to live in foreign cities among people of other religions. Of course, all this was an excuse because the family of the boy who were asking hands on Nigar wouldn't leave them alone. Perhaps Nigar's mother, Saadat Khanum, was warning visitors. He's an officer and we're waiting for his return. No, I'll marry her to my son, said the boy's mother, not wanting to hear anything. Since the Palavandovs were a well-known family, it was impossible to refuse their offers. Finally, Nigar marries Dervish Bey Palavandov, a noble Georgian family, but fate had its own plans. His wife will leave him forever, and his uncle will kidnap his only son and take him to Turkey, where according to the terrible scenario of fate, they will both fall ill, and his son Khosrow will close his eyes to the world before the age of 9. But this is not the end of the story. Suddenly, the first love of Nigar, General Alakbarli, also known as God of Artillery, comes back to her life. The hero of the Russo-Japanese War comes to Tbilisi, Georgia, to see his relatives, and suddenly sees her. His Nigar had returned to her father's house. Alaga's relatives were very dissatisfied with his desire to marry a widow. A rich man with a brilliant career, he was offered the most titled and beautiful woman to marry. But it was impossible to dissuade Alaga. Nigar is my first love, my first dream. Although the world is upside down, I will marry her. As for a young girl or a widow, everyone is acceptable to me. It is enough to have my first love, as Nigar said Alaga, and they married in 1909. She stands by her husband, not behind him, and steps forward to help those who were wounded in World War I. Nigar Shikhlinskaya, Azerbaijan's first nurse, will be the chairwoman of the Women's Community Hospital of the Red Cross Officers Artillery School during World War I. The soldiers affectionately call her mother and call the clinic Shikhlinsky Hospital, where the wounded are treated. Despite her busy schedule, Ms. Nigar spoke on behalf of the soldiers in the languages they spoke: Russian, Kazakh, Kazan Tatar, and so on, writing letters to relatives in their own languages. One day, she's traveling alone on an officer's train when officers enter the compartment and see a woman reading Dostoevsky's book. They mockingly say in French, "These blacks are proud to know Russian. For them, this is the pinnacle of science." Madame Nigar keeps silent. When they reach their destination, they see the general on the platform and understand everything. Madame Nigar stands up and says in pure French to those who had insulted her, "Mr. Officers, your behavior was not the same as that of any officer," and adds, "This conversation will stay in the compartment. Thank you." Along with being the first military serving woman in Azerbaijan, she also wrote articles for the press. Miss Nigar, who was innately talented and immortalized by her deeds, good deeds and labor, has lived in Baku since 1918 and published articles on Azerbaijani literature and language in the Yenifkir newspaper, and was even one of the firsts to study Nizami's Azerbaijani identity.
Sen gidenden etirsizdi bağlarda güller. Güneşsiz kaldı sensiz günler.
A 47-year-old man who has seen wars and battles all his life will write a very delicate poem in honor of Mrs. Nigar. And in 1948, Üzeyir Hacıbeyov will compose a romance with these words. But unfortunately, he will not be able to finish it. Although they did not have any children, they lived together for 22 years. Ali Agha wrote in his memoirs, "There was not a single black cloud in our happy sky. The happiest time of my life, despite the difficult times, was 22 years with Mrs. Nigar. Her death was the strongest blow of my life. All the beauties of my life went with her." For 11 years, he would visit Nigar every Thursday and bequeath his burial next to the woman he loved. The general has 4 wills, and in all 4 of them, he states, "You will bury me next to my beloved Nigar Hanım."
Senden kalan halkide mavi deniz, aziz denizim benim. Öten günler yaşadı gölgemizi bizim, senin şeklin gözümde kalır. Oyan hatireleri tanış denizim, sözlerini ben senin dillerden yığır, aziz gülüşlerini güllerden yığır.